Everyone. Wow. So today we are back on the night before the Survivor Season 45 premiere. Today we are going to be talking about our Survivor Season 45 tribe reactions. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and these tribes look interesting, so I'm very excited to talk about them. Just as a heads up, we already did something reacting to each individual tribe member. So if you're looking for us to tell us like our opinions on like each individual tribe member, this ain't it. We're going to be talking about like tribe dynamics. We're going to be talking about who we think's going to be in an alliance together, who we think might be first boot, but we're not going to be talking about like, oh yes, Bruce, my opinions on him. So go watch that other video if you want to hear our opinions on each individual person.
Yeah, I feel like the cast assessment videos are always so fun to do. These ones are fun to do because we're basically just making up stuff based off of one photo that we have of these people. But I feel like for overall impressions, the tribes seem pretty equal in terms of like strengths. You have some like hard hitters looking on the tribes, like, oh, these people look physically fit. They look like they're strong. They could be good at puzzles. They could carry their team. And then maybe you see some like, oh, some less physically strong looking people. And it seems like they're well rounded tribes.
Yeah, I feel like part of it is there's no one who I would be like, oh yeah, they're like the Jonathan of this
Mm.
cast where they're like obviously more physically fit than everyone else and thus would be able to like carry their team. And so I think that's one of the good things about like this cast is there's no one who's like, yes, I'm, you know, a professional weightlifter in my free time. So I feel like that's a really good place to start is by not having those like super strong people who can carry their whole team.
Yeah, like I feel like we're going to see maybe all three tribes going to tribal council. With Jonathan, I'm like, why was he not invited onto the challenge? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. So guess we live and learn.
Yeah, other overall thoughts for you, Alyssa?
Honestly, I just am excited because I feel like a lot of these tribes have some like really juicy dynamics in them. So I am excited to see like how those actually play out.
I agree. So first up, we've got Bello, which is the blue tribe here. The tribe members, we've got Kendra, who's 31, bartender, Brando, 23, software developer, Kelly, 30, critical care nurse, Jake, 26, attorney, Bruce, 47, insurance agent, and Katura, 35, attorney. So I feel like what stood out to me the most just off the bat, I was like, oh, two attorneys here. Maybe those two will bond over that. There are some people that are saying they're going to lie about like their job and other parts about their personality and different things. But maybe if one person shares that they're an attorney, maybe the other will. Still need to know, what kind of law Jake is doing.
Yeah, the other thing that stood out for me is we have a lot of people like from the Northeast. We have Bruce from Rhode Island, Jake from Massachusetts. Both Katura and Kelly are from New York. And so I
Mm.
feel like a little Northeast coalition might be going on here. So I feel like there's a lot of things that people on this tribe could like bond over.
Similar to bonding over, I noticed Jake and Brando, they both talked about their massive weight loss journeys and their bios. So maybe if like the topic of fitness, personal health, weight loss comes up, maybe they'll talk about that, bond over that. I feel like for this tribe, I don't see Bruce being voted out first. I feel like he's probably safe.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Bruce is 12 years older than the next youngest person. So Bruce is 47 and then Katura is 35.
Hmm.
And so I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I feel like generally they don't tend to vote out older men as much as they tend to vote out older women. So he might be safe. I also think if we're looking like in the opposite direction, Brando is like younger than everyone else on his tribe. He's only like 3 years younger than Jake, but like he is 23 and the other people are like 29, 31, 35. And so they might be more comparable in like life stage to Bruce as far as like, having an established career and maybe starting a family. Whereas Brando, I feel like is younger, still like trying to figure out where he is in his life. So maybe as far as being able to relate to each other, Bruce will do better than Brando.
I also agree. I feel like and a lot of people like recognized Bruce. I don't think they'd be those people to be like, he's played, one day before, we got to vote him out. So I feel like he'd be safe just because he has that like fame from being on last season and they saw the way that he went out last season. I feel like on this tribe, I could sort of see Kendra or Jake being the first people voted out. Kendra, she said she's most like Carolyn. I feel like that kind of quirky vibe sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. We saw it work really well last season, but I feel like most times that kind of vibe might not work. So that's where I could see Kendra getting voted out early if maybe people are annoyed or things like that. For Jake, like I said in the cast assessment video, sort of gives me very typical attorney vibes. So that's why I want to know, what law is he doing? If it's like civil rights or social justice oriented, like Katura is doing, maybe they bond over that. But I feel like Jake just gives very lawyer vibes that I'd want to like vote him out.
Right. So I guess it'll be interesting to see which of these people end up being the first boot. I think pretty safely it's not Bruce, but the others I feel like you could argue anyway.
So you're saying everyone but Bruce?
I mean, I agree with your takes as far as
Okay.
like Jake might be one, but I still feel like, again, we say this every time, but you cannot predict people's chemistry just based on, what they write in their bio or even their short video. So I feel like we might be barking up the wrong tree.
True, true. So, next tribe, we've got Lulu, which is yellow, which sounds like Delulu. So, the members here, we got Sabaya, who is 28, truck driver, Brandon, 26, content producer, Sean, 35, school principal, Emily, 28, investment analyst, Caleb, 29, software salesperson, Hannah, 33, therapist. Just off this photo, I was like, Emily looks just like Franny here. I was like, yo, Franny's again here too?
I do not see that whatsoever, but you do you, boo.
Oh my gosh. But I feel like similar to you talking about people living in similar areas for the previous tribe, Hannah and Emily here, both living in Maryland right now, could bond over that.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because like Laurel and Baltimore City, I feel like are very different places. I'd be curious, like, is Hannah like actually living in Baltimore City, or is it like people say they live in Baltimore when they don't really, because Baltimore is the nearest city that people would know. But yeah, we also have Caleb the Canadian on this tribe, so I wonder if that'll be something that comes up. Like, oh, you're from Canada. What's that like?
I feel like everyone here is pretty much a similar age. It's all late 20s, like early 30s. The age diversity here, it goes 26 to 35. So only like a 9-year age gap. People are probably in like those similar stages of life. Here, nobody really sticks out age wise as like, oh, super young, just graduated college, still in college, maybe never lived on their own kind of thing, or someone like very, very old that they could be considered the weak link because of their age. So it'll be interesting here. It's like, okay, no one sticks out age range wise.
I also feel like none of them really stick out like job wise. Like we have a content producer, an investment analyst, a therapist, a software salesman, a truck driver, and a school principal. Like you could maybe argue that Caleb, or not Caleb, sorry, Sabaya, since she's a truck driver, that's like more blue collar than the rest of her tribe. But that's still like, I would say not something that's like red flag to me, where like, oh yeah, you're gonna get voted out because you're a truck driver. Like, so I think it's going to be interesting to see like what these people bond over or don't bond over, just because it seems to me like they kind of just threw them together.
Oh, I felt similarly. I wrote in my notes that I thought this tribe is giving me hot mess vibes. They've got like the more vocal people, the people that talked about being paranoid in their bios. I feel like the people in this tribe are the like take no shiz kind of people. Like they will tell you how it is to your face, which is good and bad. Maybe not so good in a game like Survivor. For me, I'm like, I could see Brandon going out first, playing too hard, too fast, and being paranoid out there too early. Emily described herself as aggressive and off-putting, so maybe that rubs people the wrong way and people get annoyed. And I feel like Sean similarly seems like he might overplay and be like playing too hard too fast.
Yeah, I think the hot mess tribe is exactly what I was thinking. Like, it's interesting because Survivor, I feel like, is almost about putting people from different circumstances together and seeing how they gel or don't. But I kind of hope they're a hot mess just because that would be so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, and so it's like Caleb, I feel like from those video interviews, people were describing him as someone that was like smiling too much, trying to make too much eye contact with people. So maybe that sketches people out. But I feel like he seems so friendly that I would want to be his friend, even if he maybe sketched you out. So I feel like he'd be more safe. But if people were sketched, maybe they vote him out for that. Hannah, I feel like she seems very chill, but she does seem like someone that's very strong-minded and opinionated. So that could be good or bad. And then Sabaya, I feel like is really the only chill one here. Everyone else seems like they could be on that spectrum of like chill to hot mess. Sabaya is like, I feel like she won't be voted out first here and she could go far from this tribe.
Yeah, she is the one who doesn't get voted out because everyone thinks that she's on their side. So I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. I would love to see a hot mess tribe if they're all fighting and like they can't agree on anything and they're just hot messing it all up.
Yes, you gotta hot mess it up sometimes.
Yeah. So finally, we've got Reba, which is the red tribe. They've got Julie, who's 49 and a state attorney, Sifu, 30, gym owner, Drew, 23, grad student, Jay Maya, 24, singer, Austin, 26, grad student, and D, 26, entrepreneur. This is a very young tribe. They are like mostly all early mid 20s, where the four younger ones here could bond 23, 24, 26, 26, Drew, J, Maya, Austin, and D. So I feel like because of that, maybe Julie or Sifu could go earlier.
Yeah, I feel like Julie is kind of set up to be at a disadvantage here because like she's either gonna like be the one voted out first, or she's gonna have to take the role of like mom mentor. And then I feel like a lot of people who have been cast as like the mom figure on Survivor have talked about how that like hurts your winner chances. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're so young. And I feel weird saying that because it's like I'm 25. It's not like they're like 18. But I feel like 23, 24. Yeah.
It's like it's our age range, 23 to 26. I feel like I would want to be on this tribe if I were out there because it's like you could totally easily bond with the 23 to 26 age range being 25. Like you can bond to school people and you can bond to the people post grad.
Mm-hmm. And there are still two grad students in this tribe, and so I
Mm.
think that's going to be interesting. And there's also two entrepreneurs because D is an entrepreneur, and then Sifu owns a gym. So I feel like that's kind of a thing. So I feel like Julie, I'm really concerned for her being first boot just because she is the oldest, and then she also doesn't have like a job buddy, whereas Sifu does have someone. Like maybe D wants to talk with Sifu about entrepreneurship. Yeah.
I was like, maybe with Julie, I guess she said she was going to lie about being an attorney, but in the cast assessment we talked, she should say how she switched her whole life around at 40, 41, because that's so like instrumental to who she's become today. I think she should be talking about that whole career pivot and going through the divorce, single mothering, all of that, because I feel like that would make people like feel like they would want to work with you because it's so badass what Julie has done. And if she does talk about being an attorney going through law school at 40, maybe Jay Maya, since Jay Maya applied to law school and was accepted, they could bond over that and talk about, preparing for the LSAT and all of that. But I feel like Julie shouldn't lie again about her job or like changing her life at 40.
I think it's hard though, because sometimes people vote out someone with like a good story because it's like you don't want to sit next to someone who has a better story than you. So I could see maybe Julie tells her story to like some people to like get them on her side, but I wouldn't think that would be something she would want to be public knowledge just because You don't want the reason that you end up not getting to the final three being like, oh, I ran my mouth. So
True. She does have a very, very good story that it could be threatening. Like, oh, obviously people are going to want to vote for her and the final tribal council compared to, the 23-year-old or someone else.
yeah, so I don't know. My fingers are crossed for Julie, but I also have a bad feeling that she will be the first boot from this tribe.
Oh no. With this photo, I was like, Drew, very tall.
I was going to say, we mentioned in our cast assessment, we were like, is Drew very tall or is everyone else very short? And the answer is Drew is very tall. So I wonder, I always think about, they have some of the like individual immunity challenges where it's based on your height. Like they have to set it up to your specific
Mhm.
height to make it fair. Like, what is that going to look like when Drew has to do one of those individual immunity challenges? Because I feel like that might look a little silly.
Yeah, it's like a really, really tall post, like, to fit your head and your feet. I'm like, yeah, very tall, but then it's like the rest of the people on the tribe are literally all in, like, the same line height.
Yeah,
Maybe Austin a little taller, but the other 4 are, like, the same height.
I mean, it could also just be there's. Oh, I was gonna say they're standing on sand, but they're totally not in that photo. So, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, good. Drew, don't get voted out because now you got the height advantage. If you have to do the basketball challenges, throwing things up, you're like practically the height of the post then.
Right. So you can like look in the trees easier for idols.
True, true, true. So those are the 3 tribes. I feel like we sort of sped through it, but like we said, it sort of is just like, okay, let's based off of these photos, based off of these bios, based off of the interview materials, we're going to judge these people randomly. So it very much is subjective. So I'm excited though. Tomorrow is the premiere, 90-minute episodes. Tomorrow night is going to be a great day with Survivor and The Amazing Race premiering.
Yeah, I'm really excited to like get back to watching Survivor. I feel like every time we're like, oh, this hiatus lasted forever, but then also like it feels like it happened so quickly, and now we finally get more Survivor again. So I'm excited.
I know. I think I need to pay $10 to Paramount Plus again. I think I'm only on the $5 one so I can watch other stuff, which I haven't even watched other things, so I'm wasting money. But now I have to pay $10 to watch live.
Paramount Plus, awful. But
Lots of good TV shows coming up. The Traitors, Big Brother's on, Survivor Amazing Race. So I feel like if you're into these reality strategy television shows, you're going to be eating good in the upcoming few months.
yes, so we will be talking about the premiere later this week, and we are really excited to see you guys there. So we will see you soon. Bye.